Hello, I am Hannah Whitman. I am the Science Coordinator for Seize Your Future on board the Pelican Voyage, the DARWIN200 Voyage this year. I'm in charge of running the science data collection that Seize Your Future have been doing for various different organisations, and amongst various things I have done the cetacean data collection, taking over from Joe Ellison, who's been doing it on the first and second leg, and I've done the third leg, taking over from him doing it last year. So the data we've been collecting for the cetaceans is for the Sea-Watch Foundation. They are trying to collect as much data as possible about the different cetacean species around the UK, so about the different species that we have, their distributions and their abundances, and how they're using the different coastal areas around the UK. And they're trying to collect as much data as possible for that, so the way they're doing that is making it into a citizen science project, which means that anyone can really get involved in this under the guidance of scientists and start collecting as much data as possible. So this data is really, really important to collect so that we can know not only what species we have and where they are, but also which species are more vulnerable, and we can identify those vulnerable populations early on before we start to see their collapse, and we can identify exactly what threats. So you can do something, there's quite a new concept called threat mapping, where you can overlay activities such as fishing or sort of noise, so pile driving to make wind farms, and you can overlay that with where you're finding different cetacean species and see how at risk those species are from being impacted from those activities. So the way we've been carrying out these surveys and collecting this data on board the Pelican is by carrying out 2-hour surveys in either the morning or the evening, because they give the best light conditions for us to be able to actually sight cetaceans. So we've been doing that on this deck, which is called the poop deck, which is at the back of the boat, and it's nice and high up, so it gives us a really good viewpoint. And we've been doing that with 5 people, so we've got 2 people on port and 2 people on starboard, either looking forward or aft, and they sort of look on this quarter of the boat, and then you have one person who will be writing down our latitude and longitude, the different sea state, and the sort of time that we're doing it, and we'll do that in 15-minute intervals. Each 15-minute interval you need to write down basically the effort that you've put in to what you're doing, so the survey. So you need to write down whether it's a dedicated survey, you need to write down what the sea state is and the swell height and the visibility, and that is really, really important information to have, because it allows us to calculate what's called the detection factor, which is basically how likely you are to see the species if it is actually present. So you may see in really high swell and really bad visibility only 1 in 10 of the animals that are actually present in that part of the ocean, whereas if you had a really nice clear day, then you would actually be able to see a lot more of what's actually there. Another thing that influences that is also the species behaviour. So if you have a lot of the dolphin species, they will actually come and find the boat and ride the bow, so if they're there, they're very easy to detect because they often come to the boat. Whereas if you had something like a sperm whale, which only surfaces for maybe 5 minutes before going all the way back down to the deep sea where it feeds, you're much less likely to see that, so you would see a lot less, so the detection factor would be much smaller. So secondly, to the dedicated surveys we've been doing, we've also been taking casual data. So casual watches is any sightings that you see not as part of a survey, which will often be, more often than not, you'll actually sight a cetacean when it's not part of a survey at all, and we're still able to collect those sightings on a casual watch data form. So over this whole voyage, we've actually managed to carry out 39 surveys, which is really, really great, considering how much has been going on the vessel and how much shore time we've had. So it's been really good to get that data. And within that, we have found 11 different species of cetaceans, which is really nice. We actually saw 155 different sightings. So it's been very busy, which is really, really great to see that there's so much abundance of cetaceans in the UK waters, and also the diversity that we've seen has been really great. We've seen lots of different dolphin species that aren't that often seen, so we've seen very common ones like the common dolphins and bottlenose, and then we've also seen ones that are less commonly seen, like Rhesus dolphins, which is really nice, white-beaked dolphins, really stunning, quite large animals, really nice to see. Then we've also seen 3 different types of whales. We've seen longfin pilot whales, which is great. We've seen minke whales, quite a lot of them, which have been really nice, they're quite common. And then we also got a really nice visit in the Orkneys by a pod of orcas, which was great to see. And they actually had a calf with them, which is really, really, really nice to see, because orcas have really struggled with fertility of their young, as they've had a lot of contaminants getting into the milk. So a lot of their calves have quite high mortality rates, so it was really, really nice to see a juvenile with them. So all in all, it's been a really, really successful time collecting this data. It's been really good fun for our scientists, and it's been such a pleasure to also be able to get the voyage crew involved. They've taken such an interest, which is so nice, and we've been able to really educate and open the door to the science world to a lot of people who would otherwise not be able to have that opportunity. So it's been a really good time.